What's up, guys? Welcome back to Aota Minute to Pick It. It's Wednesday, January 6th. Yesterday in the NBA, 1-2 on the day. Not a great day. We hit on the Timberwolves plus 12 against the Nuggets, and then lost on the Lakers spread. Had them by 9. They were up by 9 with 30 seconds left. Couldn't close it out, though. Then we were up on the Jazz money line against the Nets. Nets won big time. College basketball, 2-1 on the day, though. Michigan State money line against Rutgers and Kansas -6 against TCU both hit. And then we missed Florida plus 2.5 against Alabama. Alabama blowout win. Looked really good in that one. Brings us to a 5-6 record on the week. Currently down half a unit on the week. Still up overall in the year, though, so we're going to keep on grinding here. Keep it going to today. Let's get started then. Our first game comes in college basketball. We have number 19 Virginia Tech going against Louisville. Louisville 5-point favorites at home. Over under 131.5. Virginia Tech 8-1 on the year. Their only loss was by 20 points to Penn State. That game came almost a month ago. Their last game, though, was over a week ago. They've been on a bit of a break because of COVID cancellations. They're an efficient offensive scoring team. In their last 3 games, the offense has really come on. They're averaging 87 in that span, and they're shooting over 35% from 3 on the season. Louisville, on the other hand, 7-1 on the year. They have a 27-point loss to Wisconsin, their only loss on the season. In that game, their key player, Carlik Jones, was out. He's averaging 17.8 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and 4.6 assists. Player to watch out in this one. Louisville is a very stingy defensive-minded team. They run an efficient, smart offense, averaging 70 points per game, but only giving up 61.8. The bottom line for this game, both teams have pretty similar resumes. Their lone losses of the year coming in a big fashion to a Big Ten team. Louisville's gotten better as ACC play has begun. They've been really heating up as of late. Carlik Jones also being out for that Wisconsin game was a big key in that one, and it kind of shows that Carlik Jones is going to be the best player on the floor in this game. Louisville's going to be the better team in my mind. It's Virginia Tech's first road game of the year, and they really struggled on the road last season. Granted, we don't have fans, but I think Louisville covers in this game and wins in a pretty big fashion. Our next game, we have Arkansas going against number 9 Tennessee. Tennessee comes into this one 8.5-point favorites, over under 144. Arkansas 9-1 on the season. They're 1-1 in conference play with a win over Auburn, then just suffered a loss to Missouri. Their stats are incredibly inflated this year, though. They're averaging a 23-point differential in their games, but incredibly inflated because of an extremely weak non-conference schedule that they've played. They have been hitting a lot of threes, though, shooting 41% on the season from beyond the arc. Tennessee 7-1 on the year, also 1-1 in conference play. They have a win over Missouri, then just suffered their first loss to Alabama. They're the top-ranked defensive team in the entire country. Teams really struggled down low against their defense, and they forced turnovers on about a quarter of possessions. They don't have many three-pointers. Their offense is more focused on taking care of the ball and grabbing offensive rebounds for second-chance buckets. The bottom line of this game, Arkansas entered the season expected to be at the bottom of the SEC. Their wins have been mostly against terrible teams. This is their biggest test of the season by far, and a Tennessee team that's very good. They did just suffer a loss to Alabama, but as we saw, Alabama destroy Florida last night. They're a team that's hot right now. My prediction, Tennessee destroys Arkansas in this game. We see why they're ranked number 9 and why Arkansas came in ranked towards the bottom of teams coming into the season. Our next game, we have number 16 Minnesota going against number 10 Michigan. Michigan is a 7.5-point favorite at home, over under 150. Minnesota 10-2 on the year. Their 2 losses suffered were to number 13 Illinois, number 6 Wisconsin, and they also have quality wins over number 4 Iowa, 17 Michigan State, and number 25 Ohio State. Minnesota's been a big surprise in the Big Ten this year, one of the better teams of the conference, and one of those reasons is because they have a key player in Marcus Carr, who's averaging 22.1 points per game, 5.9 assists. He's been very good for them this year. Michigan 9-0 on the year. Isn't a team full of playmakers, but it's a team full of very good shooters. They're shooting over 36% from 3 on the season, averaging over 82 points per game as well, shooting 52% from the field. Very good shooting team, efficiently run offense. They don't spread the ball around a ton, don't have a ton of assists as a team, but they can hit their shots when they're open. Their first ranked win of the season, though, just came against Northwestern on Saturday. They don't have a ton of good quality wins this year. Really, that was their only quality win. So it's interesting to see. This is going to be a big test for them, and Michigan's about to get tested in a big way in this tough Big Ten conference. Also, they have a key player in freshman center, Hunter Dickinson, who's been great to start his college career. He's averaging about 17 points per game and grabbing 8 rebounds. I think Michigan's a good team, really well shooting, but this is probably their biggest test of the season. Minnesota's going to surprise them a little bit, at least cover the spread and make it a close one. I think Minnesota has a good chance to win too. I don't hate taking their money line in this spot. Our next game, we have Oklahoma going against number 2 Baylor. Baylor 11-point favorites, over under 150.5. Oklahoma 6-2 on the year, coming off a big win on Saturday against number 9 ranked West Virginia. Huge win for this team. Oklahoma's a fast tempo offense. They're averaging about 82 points per game, shooting well from 3, and only giving up 71 points against per game. But they have struggled to defend the 3 ball this year. Could be big in this matchup. Baylor undefeated on the year. They've won games by an average of 30.2 points per game. They are by far one of the best teams in the country. It's definitely between them and Gonzaga so far. Offense was sloppy against Iowa State in their last game, but they stepped up, forced turnovers on the defensive end, and showed that their defense could carry this team when their offense struggles. They have a player to watch in Jared Butler. He's averaging 16 points per game, 5.8 assists per game, and he's shooting almost 46% from 3, over 50% from the floor. Dude has been on fire to start the year. Overall for this game, Oklahoma is a good team, but they're not even close to as good as this Baylor team, and the matchup plays directly into Baylor's hands. Oklahoma running a fast-paced offense who struggles defending the 3 ball, going against a team as good as Baylor. Baylor hits 11 threes a game, shooting at 43% from beyond the arc as a team. This game plays right into Baylor's hands. Baylor wins this one big. I know it's a big spread, but I think they cover it and win by probably 20. In a big shocker. Not a big shocker, but I think they surprise some people with how much they win by. For our last college basketball game, we have Seton Hall going against number 7 ranked Creighton. Creighton, a 5.5-point favorite, over under 148. Seton Hall, 8-4 on the year. 3 of those 4 losses came in their first 4 games of the season. Since then, they're 5-1 in Big East play. They're a good offensive team that excels at getting to the free throw line, and they hit their free throws at a very good rate when they do get to the line. They have a key player to watch in this one in forward, Sandro Mamushavelli. Probably pronounced that wrong, but you get it. Averaging 18.7 points per game and about 7 boards a game. He is a fantastic player. And Creighton, 8-2 on the year. Their 2 losses by 5 or less points to Marquette and Kansas. They're a solid team, but they've been playing some very close games and barely skating by lately. They're coming off 2, 5, and 2-point victories over Providence, Xavier, and UConn respectively in their last 3 games. They've been playing some really tight ones. They're a really good 3-point shooting team, though. That's the big part of this offense. They hit over 10 threes a game, shooting on 36.7% beyond the arc. Overall, for this game, Seton Hall has been winning big lately in the Big East. They've been playing very well in conference play. Creighton has barely been skating by so far. It feels like they're due to slip up here soon in conference play. I'm taking Seton Hall to keep this game close, maybe even a cover. They have the best player on the floor too, which really helps in this one. All right, now on over to the NBA. We got the Rockets going against the Pacers. Pacers 2-point favorites, over under 224.5. The Rockets 2-3 on the year. Their only 2 wins of the season, both coming against the Kings. They're coming off a 13-point loss to the Mavericks. Christian Wood has been a really big surprise for this team, though. He's putting up 23.6 points per game and 10 boards per game. He's been a big surprise for them. Really nice for this team. A team that's lacking in a lot of depth, too, and could use some help. Outside of Harden, Wood, Wall, and Eric Gordon, players are only averaging a high of 8 points per game. They need some consistent help from their bench. The Pacers, on the other hand, 5-2. They will still be without TJ Warren for this game. They're coming off a 10-point comeback late in the game against the Pelicans too, forced it to OT and beat them in OT. They're getting really good offensive production from a number of players while TJ's been out, and Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, and Domantas Sabonis has really helped carry this team, and Miles Turner carrying this team on the defensive end. He's been great at shot blocking early on in the year. Overall for this game, what I'm seeing, Rockets, really good team. They're going to put up some points, but They're giving up a ton on defense, and their bench isn't stepping up how they need to step up. They're playing one of the best teams in the league in the Pacers, a very well-rounded team too that gets significant production from their bench. That's why I'm liking the Pacers here. They're going to outplay the Rockets. When they take out Harden and Wall, when those guys need rest, that's when the Pacers will jump and build up a big lead early on in this game. Our next game, we got the Celtics going against the Heat. The Heat, 3.5-point favorites, over-under 218. Celtics 5-3 on the year, suffering some key injuries early on. They're down Kemba, Jeff Teague, and now Marcus Smart likely will be out for this game. Tatum has had to carry this team, along with they have gotten offensive production from the bench, helped to carry them in a win last game against the Raptors. The defense has really been struggling for this team lately, though. They even gave up 114 points to a Raptors team that's really struggling to shoot the ball this season. The Heat, 3-3 on the year, have been very inconsistent to start the season. They're yet to win back-to-back games, really going back and forth here. For example, they got blew out by 50 points against the Bucks, jumped back the very next day to beat them. So they've been all over the place. Their defense, even with giving up 144 in one of the games to the Bucks, has still been very good and is putting up good numbers. In their last 3 games too, they've limited teams to shooting only 39% from the floor. Celtics, with those key injuries, with the struggling defense, I think are really going to hurt against this good Heat team. Heat, we already know are a good team. They've been really getting better defensively here as of late, which is going to be big in this game. Also, they're 3-point shooters. If they're on fire, the Celtics are leaving them open. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. Heat win this game. I might buy down to get at a 1-possession game, Heat -3, but I'm taking Heat to cover as well. Our next game, we had the Raptors going against the Suns. Suns are 3-point favorites at home, over-under 219. Raptors, as I mentioned in the last game, really struggling to start the year. They are 1-5 so far on the season. A big reason for that struggle is their offense. They're only putting up 106 points per game, shooting 41%, and they're an up-tempo, fast-paced team too, so that's been hurting their normally good defense, which is now giving up 110 points per game. The move to Tampa Bay due to COVID in Canada could really be hurting this team, and it seems like it is a distraction for them. Fred VanVleet has been great for this team so far, though. He put up 35 points in their last game, someone to watch out for in this one. The Suns, 5-2 on the year, have been the opposite of the Raptors. The Suns have been great this season. The addition of Chris Paul has slowed down the pace of the Suns' offense. They're getting efficient buckets. They're playing really good on defense. Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton quickly becoming one of the best trios in the entire NBA. They're coming off only their second loss of the year to the Clippers. Played them close in that one too. That's why overall for this game, I'm liking the Suns. You gotta love them in this spot here. They're playing very good defense. They're an efficient offense. Chris Paul has added some much needed leadership and ball handling skills to this team. The Raptors, struggling. They can't shoot very well. That up-tempo offense is hurting them, and it's gonna hurt them in this game against a good Suns team that can control the pace of tempo better than any other team in the NBA. Our last game, we got the Clippers, 1.5-point favorites going against the Warriors, over-under 229. Clippers 5-3 on the year. Paul George is questionable for this game, so something to keep an eye out for. They play a pretty similar style of offense to the Suns. Control the tempo of play, control the pace of the game, play efficient offense, and then play very stingy defense on the other end of the floor. They suffered a close 3-point loss to the Spurs last game. Gonna want to bounce back here in a big way. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have been great for this team, of course, averaging 25 and 23 points this season respectively. The Warriors, 4-3 on the year, play the fastest tempo of offense out of any team in the NBA. This is going to be a matchup of two very opposite styles of play here. Steph Curry, when he's on, that offense gets going for this team, and it works out very well for them. In the last 2 games, they've scored 137 points in each of them. But when Steph isn't on, it normally ends in disaster for this team, and the Warriors get blown out. As we've seen time and time again this season, they're giving up 121 points against them. So their defense has been struggling as well, coupled with the fast tempo pace can allow teams to really get out to a large lead on them, which I think is going to happen in this game. Steph has been on fire his last 2. He may still be going into this one, but this is a really good Clippers team that will slow down the game. They will still put up buckets, not let you run in transition, and they're going to be great in this matchup. I think the Clippers win this game big. We see a similar game that the Warriors had on Christmas against the Bucks. That's why I'm loving the Clippers money line. Think they're going to win big too. All right, let's get into picks now, starting with college basketball. This Minnesota and Michigan game. Michigan has been very good this year, but they haven't really played anyone outside from Northwestern. That was their toughest game of the season. This is now going to be their toughest game of the season. In my opinion, they're way overvalued at 7.5 against a very good Minnesota team. It's already beaten some of the top teams in the entire Big Ten. That's why I'm taking Minnesota to cover this, plus 7.5 here. In the Baylor-Oklahoma game, Oklahoma's style of offense plays right into Baylor's hands. Not only is Baylor the way more talented team, but Oklahoma plays fast tempo, and Baylor is a great team at forcing turnovers, one of the best teams in the entire country at hitting threes. They're hitting 11 threes per game, shooting over 40% from beyond the arc. Baylor wins this game big, and their defense is good enough to not let Oklahoma get back into this game. 11 points is a lot, but it's not too much for me. I'm taking Baylor by minus 11 against Oklahoma. And for our final college basketball pick, Seton Hall going against Creighton. Creighton has been playing teams really close, especially in Big East play. Seton Hall has been turning it on as of lately. Majority of their wins came in the first 4 games of the season. Since then, they've been a different team. They've been on fire lately. They have the best player in this entire game too. I'm excited to see this one. It's going to be a close game. Seton Hall, I think, can actually pull out the win, even on the road against Creighton. That's why I'm taking Seton Hall plus 5.5 against them. Now for NBA picks, the Pacers and the Rockets. In this one, the Pacers have a great balance of talent. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA so far this season. The Rockets getting good production out of some of their stars like James Harden and like John Wall. Eric Gordon's been great this year. But outside of that, they're really not having many players score the ball or get much offensive production. They're also not a good team defensively. Pacers have a lot of depth, have a good bench. Even without TJ Warren, they're better than this Rockets team. Taking the Pacers money line at minus 135. For the Heat and Celtics game, injuries have really plagued this Celtics team. Kemba's out. Jeff Teague is out. Marcus Smart is now likely out for this game as well. That's going to hurt them a lot against a Heat team that these guys know each other. They know each other well. They don't like each other much either. Celtics defense has really struggled. The Heat have been inconsistent, but they're starting to turn it on. Their defense is getting a lot better too. Unless Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown go for 50 in this one, I don't know where the Celtics are going to get their offensive production. The Heat are going to drown them in threes. They're going to drown them in great defense. They're going to win this game. Heat money line minus 145. For the Suns and Raptors game, Raptors off to a terrible start to the year. 1-5 on the season, only shooting 41% from the field. They continue to play a fast tempo offense too that plays right into the Suns team that plays at the slowest pace in the entire NBA. They've been controlling the tempo, playing amazing defense. Chris Paul's been great for this team. Suns win this Suns money line minus 150. And for my last NBA pick, Clippers money line against the Warriors, that's at minus 120. Similar situation here. The Warriors play the fastest tempo of offense in the entire league. Clippers, second slowest behind only the Suns. They play methodical, efficient offense, great defense. This Warriors team plays very up-tempo, which means they can get blown out like they did Christmas Day against the Bucks. Unless Steph Curry's on, he's been great the last 2 games, but you can't rely on that every single game, especially not against a very good Clippers team. Clippers money line, minus 120. And I'm taking all 4 of those money lines. I'm throwing those into a parlay. We're going with a little NBA parlay here on a Wednesday, plus 800. I love all these picks. Honestly, love the parlay. I saw plus 800 on that. Had to take it. That's it for the picks today, boys. Let's hit some winners. Hopefully this parlay hits. Let's go big in the NBA today and walk away with a big payday on a hump day. Let's go. Let's have a great Wednesday, everyone. See you guys on Thursday.